Checker, 1 2 checker. Okay. All right. I'm getting it. I'm not gonna let this retrograde make my nerves bad. Cause this is, I was saying, this is interesting. This is my first live ever. As much as I've ever been on social
Really?
media and I post all the time, I have never done a live. So me and technology, but I did it. But I did it. So, hello everybody. Those who are joining in, welcome, welcome, welcome to this group. Welcome to tonight's conversation. So, you guys, I always put goodies. So, even the beginnings of this particular Facebook group started in conversations with some ladies and working with the power of the sexual energy, finding the divinity in who we are and the power. And so, we did a book club where we read the Mary Magdalene manuscript, and that was shifting for many people, really understanding more about the teachings of Mary Magdalene, and then going into the teachings of Isis and the temple and sex magic. So I just know that book was just an eye opener for those who read it, and it was one of those things. I'm reading it, and I was like, I'm talking about Yahweh. I'm not supposed to be feeling aroused by these interactions that Mary Magdalene. I was like, is that blasphemy? But it was just so deep of understanding that connection that they had, in
Yes.
which her role was to help balance and empower his divine masculine to
Yeah.
activate his Merkaba energy to do the healing and
Yeah.
so forth through the teachings, through the temples of Isis and sex
Yeah.
magic. So within that, as people ask, and they always ask me questions, and I know what I know, but then I also know there's others that know more than what I do know. And so that's why I was like, what better person to bring on was you? So I just want to welcome everybody to this live. I want y'all to welcome Maisha. I've been following her. We've done workshops together before, but she is a wonderful guide and a visionary behind sensual energy alchemy, in which she goes and weaves in the intimate parts of intimacy, bridging the sex magic, somatic healing, and all the alchemy into bringing pleasure back into women. Now, there are men on this live too, so understanding this, she'll go into that whole aspect, but I know a lot of her work is focused with women reclaiming their sexuality through traumas and harnessing the sacredness. And so at the end of the day, when we realize the power of an orgasm, it is so magical in itself, but we have not been taught to really understand the power of it
Yeah.
and utilizing it in its highest form.
Yeah.
So that is why I welcome you tonight as one of my wisdom teachers in this area of reclaiming this and giving answers to what is sex magic, what is it. And that's why I say, if you could just start out and just tell your journey, and how did you even get to the moment of realizing, as we sometimes wonder, what's my purpose, what am I to do in life? And then we wonder something like, how do we get to the point of teaching people about orgasms and sexual energy? So I found out a lot about my charts that made sense, but
Yeah.
the passion of it. So what led you to that? Tell us about you and what even led you to this topic, to embrace it and begin teaching about sex magic.
Yeah. I'll start in the now and kind of work backwards a little way. So as it turns out in my chart, a friend of mine, she's an astrologer, and she was reading my chart. My Capricorn is in Lilith. My eighth house. I'm not an astrologer, so my the where my Chiron, the wounded healers in the eighth house, which is sensuality, the sex, the body, relationships. And so it seemed to make sense once she got my chart together that part of my journey in this life was to heal those wounds, those relationship wounds, those sexual wounds. So when she told me that, the beginning makes sense. Um, I come from an unfortunate lineage where there was abuse in both for both of my grandparents, grandmothers, grandfathers. I wasn't in a relationship, so I can't always say this person did this to this person. I can say the two over here and the two over here did not treat each other well.
Mm-hmm.
My mother was sexually abused. I have experienced sexual assault and molestation, and so it when I heard about the chart, it was like, oh, well, that's interesting that someone who comes from my grandmother definitely did experience sexual assault. When it comes from, I come from a lineage of women, my mother, my grandmother, at the very least, not even counting chattel slavery, of women who have in their life experienced sexual mistreatment, that this wounded healer in this house would show up for me. And this is the thing that I seem to gravitate toward when common sense and logic would have it that I would run hightail from anything having to do with sex. Um, and so that, and going through a toxic marriage and dealing with the wounds around men and masculine energy, which led to dealing with wounds around my feminine energy, really, that's the backdrop of what has landed me here. It's always been in me and a part of me. And the very interesting thing is, the first time I was ever asked to teach at a sacred sexuality retreat, this is before I had done a class, I had whatever, the couple
Mm-hmm.
said to me, we would like you to come and teach. And the first thing I taught was sex magic.
Wow.
Never taught it before.
Wow.
That was
There it was.
2015, 2016, 2016. Haven't looked back.
It was like, how did I get here? So even when that topic, as we know, and branching out and hearing the word magic, sometimes we just hear it taboo. I have a dear colleague on my on here. She's a therapist and she is a kink therapist. And I
Mm,
always laugh because she bring out that paddle, and I was like, ooh, no. That, so it's those words sometimes that are trigger words. Like you're like her. She gets all excited. And I'm like, oh, clutching my pearls. But in the meantime, in that, when hearing about the magic, we're taught that magic is bad, is dark, is manipulative. And I'm hearing you talk about something to help you release, I'm pretty sure, all the emotions of shame and guilt that not only that you experience, but as we talk about the ancient, I know with the work you do, it goes into healing these
yes.
lineages as well, but also embracing, reprogramming the
Yes.
sexual energy that does flow through you. It's like in some aspects, somewhere in there, it became what we say deviant, but at the core of it, what was even attracting people to something to want to take? That means
Right.
there's something
Right.
there that is of light to be manipulated. So I'm seeing where you taking this into helping you heal the trauma and the all the things that we can take one way and manipulate. So,
Yeah.
what is it? I know it's a lot, but when somebody say, "What is it?" I've heard about that. I don't know about that magic.
Yeah.
What do you call it? How do you speak to people of all levels on what sex magic is?
Yeah. First, shout out to your group, because a lot of people don't come into lives on Facebook groups. You got folks on here. So first, shout out to the people in your group.
Yes.
Um, so magic is alchemy. Alchemy is magic, and I use the word magic because it's fun.
Hmm.
And I can talk about the actual thing that we do, but sex magic is fun. It gets people talking about the thing. When you see magic, you see a magician take a handkerchief and turn it into a dove, and everybody's like, "Oh my God, how do you do that?" That's alchemy to me. And so, even the name of my business, sensual, is your body. It's your five senses. It's your antenna. It's how you attune yourself to the world. It's your vibration. It's your frequency. That's what all of this that we have is designed to do. It's designed to attune itself to the world so that we can receive. Then there's your energy, right? What is that frequency, that vibration that you're putting out there? And then there's alchemy. How can you shift the things that happen to you, the shits, the iron, the trauma? How can you shift that in to gold? And what I'm talking about, and I didn't grow up in the church, but I grew up all around it. What I'm talking about is really no different than what's in the Bible, right? Is taking your experiences and learning how to reframe them and how to grow through them, learn from them, so that they become the power base for who you are, as opposed to staying stuck in the story of it, but allowing that dirt, that manure, to help you grow into something amazing. And sex magic specifically is utilizing the orgasmic energy as the focal point, because just as we learned quickly in pain, we can also learn and I'm say we're not rewiring. People are like, you're not rewiring your nervous system, but that's the way people understand it. Just as you were wired in pain, you can wire yourself through pleasure to be a different person, to walk through the world differently. So that's where the sex part comes in. That is the catalyst. That is the methodology for shifting that energy from this sucks to, oh my God, this is amazing.
Mm-hmm. 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 So it's basically, is it about sex? Is it about the exchange of energy? Is it about the intentions of
All of it.
going into it? Mm-hmm.
Yeah, all of it. Now, the intention is very important, and we can dive into shadow work on that.
Mm-hmm.
But it's all of it, and this can be done solo or partnered. And so it is about your particular energy. It's about getting clear. That's where the intention comes from on what it is you're wanting to create. Everybody in here, most people probably saw the movie The Secret,
Mm-hmm.
you know,
Mm-hmm.
and how important it was. They talked about, to know what it is that you want and all that. They didn't talk about how, but this is the real secret to me, the real
Mm-hmm.
secret sauce,
Mm-hmm.
right? So it's
Mm-hmm.
all of it.
Mm-hmm. All the secrets of intimacy. So if
Yes.
someone was to say, they think about, okay, I want to try sex magic. Let's put this money on the bed and have sex on it. Is that sex magic? Is it deeper? What are the levels? Because you can hear things just how Tantra is misinterpreted. A lot of people think Tantra is just about sex.
Right.
So compared to what commercialized aspect talk about it, what is it that you say it is on the other side of what it really is? Is it about particularly sex?
Right. So sex magic is about you becoming a lot more aligned with yourself versus getting something. Yes, you can get things with sex magic, just like you can get things with your affirmations. But if you're not clear on why you want it, if you're not prepared to handle what it is that you're getting, it will be gone. And then you'll say, oh, none of that worked. So if someone wants to lay on their bed, which I've done, and they want to talk about they want to be a millionaire,
Mm-hmm.
and they think people with money are selfish and greedy,
Mm-hmm.
and they want to be a millionaire because they feel like they are struggling, because they're tired of being what they think is broke or poor, and they're kind of angry about it. All
Mm-hmm.
of that frequency is going to repel the very thing that they're saying that they want, or they'll get a large sum of money and then it's going to go right back out the door. So
Mm-hmm.
really, sex magic isn't about getting as much as it is becoming. And then you're becoming, you do end up getting, but you have to become first.
Come, literally.
Become.
I like that. And that's part of the magic, because I think even in the magic, like you said, of creating that alchemy,
Mhm.
where women who are dealing with traumas, and not even just women, we'll have to say men too, not even just,
Absolutely.
but in that aspect of where it can stunt that sexual liberation, because often we've been taught, even if you are very sexual, to minimize it or to feel shame about it, which is also in some way harnessing a lot of power energy. And you wonder why you're not making the money you're making, why this is not activating. And so in that aspect, what is the difference? How would you say for someone, even like a lot of people say, I'm not really intimate with anyone at this point in time, what is a ritual that you, or a routine that you would say that somebody can do to start harnessing in that, in order to still activate it but still being single?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I practice sex magic solo more than I ever have with a partner. And I think it's beautiful to learn how to practice it solo, because you really get in tune with your actual self without someone else's energy clouding your frequency or your space.
Mm-hmm.
And so I did, first off is being able to touch yourself without shame. without guilt, being able to enjoy your body and knowing that enjoying your body is okay. There's a
Mm-hmm.
that's like before we're getting into because we're not about to manifest with shame,
That
right?
part. Mm-hmm.
So let's get comfortable with the body, which is where the somatic healing and the nervous system work comes in and working through those feelings about shame around the body. Now, once you're comfortable with your body, now let's just first enjoy. I do a lot of slow work with women. I want you to explore your inner and outer labia, your clitoris. Men can do the same. Explore your frenulum, explore the head, explore the shaft. Really understand your own anatomy. Know
Mm-hmm.
where the points are in and on you that bring arousal. Treat yourself like you want your lover to treat you.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And then now we can, now that you're all open, because in order to receive, you have to be open. You can't receive with closed fists. So now that you're open, all right, now let's talk about what is it that you'd like to create.
Mm-hmm.
And let's really dig into it. I work with the affirmations. Like, where is this actually coming from? Affirmation means to affirm something. Is it actually true?
Mm-hmm.
Because that's what it means when you're affirming. So when people come and they say, I want to find a husband, is that true? Or is society telling you that's what you want
Mm-hmm.
and says, I want a wife? Is it true? Right? I want one partner. Is it true? And are you still having trust issues with men and women? Because if you are, that's got to be worked on first. Otherwise, you run the risk of creating a shadow version of the thing that you say you desire, which will only reinforce the fears and ideas that you have. So
Mm-hmm.
it's that's why I said it's about becoming before it's about getting.
Got
Now
it.
we've
Mm-hmm.
done some shadow work. Your affirmation is clear. Maybe your affirmation is, I am open to the possibility of a relationship.
Mm-hmm.
Let's not say, I want a husband, I want a wife. Let's not do that. Let's say,
Mm-hmm.
I am open to the possibility, because that's what's true. And you
Mm-hmm.
need to feel it in your body. There needs to be joy attached to it and pleasure attached to it. Because when we are in the midst of orgasm, scientifically, there are things that are happening in our brain and in our nervous system that begin to shift the way we show our energy in the world.
Mm-hmm.
So this is an internal job that shows itself externally in the world, which is why sex magic is a feminine act, because it's internal first.
Mm. That's deep in that. And so within it, is it the ultimate point of the orgasm to put the energy out? Because I know we work with a lot of women that are not able to achieve an orgasm. So would that impede them on their intentions of sex magic because they are not able to have orgasms?
No, no, not at all. And when I run my circles, I tell the woman the goal is not orgasm, actually. If you have one, that's wonderful. But sometimes we put pressure.
And that's
Now,
deep because that's always you think is the ultimate and the end goal, and then you deal with this mental complex because you don't feel you achieved it, and then what's wrong with me, and then you're totally out of sync with everything. So it's really about pleasure, just pleasure. Nobody said it has to be the orgasm, but just pleasure for you.
that's right. And to be clear, and we're not most people are not going to walk around making this separation. Climax is the thing that everybody's talking about. That 30-second that happens,
Hmm.
right? Is
Hmm.
rubbed on your
Hmm.
clitoris. Or
Right.
orgasms go in waves up and down through the body. You can have orgasms with no climax
Hmm.
whatsoever. So you can feel these waves of pleasure going through your body without achieving that built up, pent up pressure that just explodes. And you
Hmm.
want that orgasmic pleasure. You want that sustained feeling of pleasure, because you want to sustain the feeling of the thing that you want to create. If you climax, beautiful, but
Hmm.
there's no pressure on that, because now you're not even in the space of the thing that you'd like to desire. You're in the space of, I gotta have a climax so I can bring the thing I want to desire. No, now we're in
Right.
masculine form, we're forcing, and sex magic isn't about force, it's about reception.
Mm. Which even goes back to the pressure of even the masculine energy of the question, did you come? That whole pressure on it, and you're missing the now of the moment of the experience and not the end. It's like, why are you rushing to the end instead
Right.
of focusing on the present? And so what I'm hearing is about being present. We talk about that all the
Absolutely.
time. Is and often in our culture, even more, that disconnect from the body, whether it's from the shame, the past teachings, the disconnect, many are not present in that form of intimacy. So even going back, like you said, of establishing that intimacy with yourself, loving on your body is only going to enhance when you do decide to come as one with a partner in that
Exactly.
aspect. Hmm.
Exactly. And now imagine what can be created, right? You are in alignment and in tune with yourself, which means you've now brought to you the right partners
Hmm.
that
Hmm.
you can align with. Now we're getting into Yeshua and Mary and what they were able to accomplish. Right?
Right.
Now we're getting
Right.
into that kind of symbiotic magic that can happen.
Hmm.
Yeah,
Hmm. That the alchemy. So it's that level
that's
of
right.
respect too, not
Yes,
only for
yes,
but the whole aspect. And so I think that's part of the beauty of us talking about, because we would talk, there were certain things in our cultures, we don't talk about your money, don't talk about your sex, and don't talk about any of that with no woman. That whole thing of mistrust, but it goes back, temple work goes back to the women in their feminine energy. And often, I hear different things like hearing events and people like, what are all them girls doing together? They must all be sleeping with each other. And I'm like, what in the do you automatically go that women of beauty can be in a group and be sensual, that it has to be sexual? And they're missing the point of what sensuality, and we often disconnect from what sensuality is and how we embrace it from the masculine to the feminine. But it's the temple work. There's that
that's right.
place of that energy coming together to cultivate it
That's right.
and
That's
feeding
right.
off that energy of each other. So if one person is already flowing in their orgasmic energy of pleasure and bliss, and you have more in the presence, life should be orgasmic. And I think that's
Right.
what people don't realize. It should be going out in the sunlight and like, that feels good.
Yes.
But if we don't know how to honor our pleasure in the simple things, then how are we going to honor it in something aspect as sex,
Mhm.
which is the most powerful thing?
That is
So
correct.
within that, and working with women or couples, in that whole pleasure to even experience, the first step I heard you say is learning to have that intimacy
With
with
your body.
yourself, and being that, which I know is hard for many. In that aspect, how do you incorporate that ancestral healing, that deeper level of healing with trauma sometimes in the shadow work, into your teachings?
Yeah. So this is one of the reasons why I work primarily with women, and it's not that I haven't worked with men. When I work with men, I usually do body work because men often need to be able to honor the feminine in a different way, and they need to be able to relax with the feminine and not force.
And not feel
And
like they got to perform.
right, right. So I've done body work with men, and I'm doing like tantric body work, and I've got their arm, and I'm running through their fingers, and their hand is here, and I'm like, just relax, relax your
Hmm.
hand, like relax your arm, because they're ready. And
Hmm.
so that's a different um, level that they need. I work primarily with women because our organs are not on the outside, and because we have been so degraded through religion, society, and culture when it comes to our bodies. Men have been given more freedom, right? So they sleep with people. Everybody's like, oh, it's okay. Do whatever you want to do. But we have been filled with so much shame that it's difficult for many of us. And we have been victims of assault more often than men. Not that they are not,
Hmm.
the boys
Hmm.
are, but more
Hmm.
often. And so there's a different type of healing that needs to take place with us on just the physical everyday level. There's a different type of healing that needs to take place because it is women who carry the mitochondrial gene for Eve. We carry, especially melanated women, we carry the DNA of the first people that were found. And so, because we have that coding in our body, it's very important for us as women to be able to heal that. So, as we have children, or as we, even if we don't have children, as we move through this life, we're allowing the best expression of that gene to come through. So, this is
Mm-hmm.
why I primarily work with women, and I am a woman, right?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Um, Now, to your question about the healing, much of what I do when we gather, while I teach, yes, there's also, I lead meditation journeys, because some of what needs to happen in the subconscious mind. It cannot happen in the frontal lobe where we're thinking, where our ego is in the way. So I will lead meditation journeys. Soon I'll be doing cacao journeys as well, and hopefully traveling, doing that to really help the women to relax and get into a space where they can work through some of those ancestral wounds and issues. But really, it's about being present with, I always say, breath, sound, and touch. And as we are able to breathe, create sound and touch, and just doing those three things, we are actually beginning to heal our lineage, because many of our mothers, grandmothers, really, that's why waiting to exhale was a little thing. Like, we couldn't breathe. We were always on guard. There was no sound. We had to be silent, sometimes just for safety. And there was no touch, because it was all about survival. So when
Mm-hmm.
incorporating those three aspects, just doing that is healing the DNA and the lineage of a woman,
I like
and the men, as we do that,
it.
actually.
Right. So in this journey of that, what is the difference? Is sex magic part of Tantra, or is it two different paths? How do the two intertwine each other in that aspect of things?
So I think everything is sex magic. Tantra is sex magic in a way, right? Tantra is learning that your body and spirit are one. It's understanding that the sensual sexual energy that flows through you is your chi. It is your life force energy. And that when you're able to tap into that energy, you can create this life that you can live. Tantra isn't just about sex. It's about
Mm-hmm.
becoming something, so that your sex life becomes this amazing, pleasure filled healing journey. All of
Mm-hmm.
sex magic is all of that. It's just the way I like to word it, because people can ask questions about sex magic. Tantra, they're like, what the hell? I don't even know what that is.
Right.
But they hear
Right.
sex magic, what sex is, what
And you know
magic
what magic
is.
is.
Right? It's like,
Right. Right.
right, you're kind of getting an idea in your mind. So that's just marketing. But also, I do believe that everything that we do as human beings, when you think about it, we are talking on a device that is magical. Our
Mm-hmm.
grandparents would have never imagined this,
Right.
right?
Right.
But
Right.
someone took that concept from here and literally had to create components. Shout out to the Black folks who did that,
Yes.
but literally had to create the components that allowed this to happen. So we are magical, but we keep forgetting the sex, because we've been told that that's dirty, nasty, sinful.
Yes, yes. So it's bringing the sacredness back
Absolutely.
into it. So in bringing the sacredness, and because of the imprints and everything now we have on sex, and when we think of sex magic, and some people, the mind is, and it's not saying anything is wrong with the kink world. And I love that's what my colleague does, is the curative aspect of it. But how is it that you help women distinguish the difference between empowered sensuality and the performative sexuality? What's been imprinted on how it this? I always say that's a difference, because I said a lot of women. I say you need to stop all that. You're gonna pull a muscle. You're gonna hurt yourself trying to present this. But where is it of learning the difference for that performative aspect in regards to the empowered sensuality?
Yeah, first shout out to the kink world, because I was just talking to this dude that I'm seeing how I miss stuff, pre-pandemic. I was in it. And it's through the kink world that I learned how to find my voice again. It was through
Mm-hmm.
the kink world. And I tell this to women: if you really feel like you want to understand how to say yes and no, get yourself a good dom,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Mm-hmm.
First, and then learn how it is to be a sub, and to be able to be in, because there's people think subs have no control. Learn what it is to say no. or yes, right? Red, green, yellow, the colors that generally are used.
Mm-hmm.
Learn that. See the power in you and determining your own pleasure. That was so freeing for me.
Because a lot of
Right?
people never felt they had that choice on a lot of that. So
That's right.
you would think to the negative that being told or tied or however it may be would not help with the trauma, but it's given the voice.
That's right. That's right. Because if you're with a good Dom, they're going to ask you. No Dom is going to deal with a sub that says, I don't know. You better know, right? Because I need
Mm-hmm.
to know when you want me to stop. I need to know when you want me to go. So you're in control of the taps, of the
Mm-hmm.
tightness of the rope. That's powerful. After that,
Mm-hmm.
I suggest you taking a spin as a Dom, right? See what it's like
Mm-hmm.
to have the power on the other side, but it's the power of communication and of seeing what did this person need and want, right? To be the voice that listens that you didn't have, right? That
Mm-hmm.
person didn't listen when you said stop, but you're gonna be that person now. And I've done both roles, and it's it is completely empowering to do that. So I often recommend kink
Mm-hmm.
work to women, especially sexual assault survivors. It's like I said,
Right.
it's
You
crazy
would think
how
it's taboo, but it's really helping to heal those traumas.
that's
And I
right.
know, yes,
Yeah,
it really
it
is
does.
amazing work.
It
Mm-hmm.
does. And so that's part of the empowerment. So when it comes to empowering versus performative, I just ask the questions of, is that what you want to do? Right? Is that really what you're into? Like when you feel that in your body, and if you can't feel it in your body, if we say it, what does it feel like? Because some women can't feel things in their body even yet, right?
Mm-hmm.
But really, what is that something you would want to do? And I'm just
Mm-hmm.
going to ask you why. And if the words come out as like, well, he or she, okay, well, what would you like to do? And I was
Mm-hmm.
just having that conversation with a someone who just joined my community, who she was saying how she doesn't enjoy sex, and she did, but she doesn't communicate it, and she doesn't know how to communicate it. So she's just doing things. She's going through the
Right.
motions, but
So
she's not
it's, yeah.
enjoying herself.
So she's saying yes, not for herself, it's for some, but and when the no should be the pleasure.
That's right. And so we're going to
Mm-hmm.
work on that aspect, because that every pussy every day
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
deserves to be honored and cared for and loved and touched the way it wants to be. But in order
Mm-hmm.
to do that, we have to be empowered to say, this is what I want, need, and desire. So we work on that. But the first question I start to ask is, well, why?
Right. Right. Exactly. To know what the goal is in the
Yeah.
whole
Yeah, who is this
aspect of
for?
things.
Who is this really for?
Yes. So this is the next question. Being a woman of awareness, how does your knowledge impact you in dating? I'm just curious. Does it intimidate people? Does it draw? Because I always say it's interesting because people think like just because you do work with sexual work and sexual energy that you out here just getting it all the time. They have no idea. But and it can bring some in, but it can push a lot away. So just having this knowledge of work and this higher energy of it when it comes to dating, how does that impact your dating life?
So that's so funny you should ask, because first of all, no, those of us who are involved in this work are not swinging from chandeliers every night. I know,
Right.
and partly because we it's quality over quantity.
Right.
And once you reach a certain energetic vibe, you just I mean I had my moments before doing this work. I was for the streets, okay? And
Right.
it didn't matter what it was. But as I
Mhm.
started to do this work, there there are dudes that look back at it and I'm like, what was happening
What
there?
was I thinking? Right.
Because we could now mechanically, sex was good
Mhm.
mechanically, but your whole energy is like, yeah, like, you know.
Right.
So what's interesting is that I didn't date. I spent a lot of time working on myself. I've had sexual partners,
Mhm.
but I was not looking for relationships. I personally had a lot of fears around relationships. And the reason why this question is funny is because it is just recently that I have met someone where
Mhm.
I am in a space where I can have all of these conversations with this person. Is sex magic instrumental in where I'm at and who I become? Yes. Was it
Mm-hmm.
instrumental in drawing him to me? Yes. Because I wasn't desperate for a man, right?
Mm-hmm.
It was important to me to be the woman I needed to be. And there's a creed that I say every single day, and part of it is to bring men in my existence that basically will not dim my light, who will
Mm-hmm.
honor everything that exists within me. That is a mandatory thing. And here comes this man. Shout out to Facebook dating.
Mm-hmm.
And so
I'm glad you said that because some people are like, I'm about to give up. So I always say it's always some good stories out there, but
listen, I
it
tell
depends on
folks,
your energy.
it depends on your energy. You will meet 10 people, one will be for you. Everybody's not supposed to be for you, right? You're not
Mm-hmm.
supposed to have 20 matches and all 20 match. Otherwise,
Mm-hmm.
you could be with anybody, right?
Right.
So I
Right.
there were dudes that I talked to,
Mm-hmm.
and there was some that out, and I was just, and some, the one of the major differences is before I was very much a people pleaser when it came to men. I did not want to hurt their feelings. I did not want to hurt their ego. I grew up thinking black men have it hard enough. I don't want to add any stress to their life.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just gonna be
Mm-hmm.
easy, low maintenance. No, 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 no.
Mm-hmm.
We're not doing that anymore. But
Mm-hmm.
I don't have to be rude about it. So when there were men who came across my field in the dating, as they're gonna, right? It's Facebook dating. I'm not gonna get everybody who's great.
Mm-hmm.
When the conversation wasn't going where it needed to go, or the energy, because now I can feel your energy through the
Right.
app, I
Mm-hmm.
would simply send a message. Hey, um, right, right now it just looks like our communication skills are different. Not good, not bad, just different. And I think right now this is where I'm going to end this connection, and I'm wishing you the best of luck on your journey.
Mm-hmm.
That's it.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't need to
Mm-hmm.
be like, I can't believe that man. True story. Asked me, was I going to cook for him? I could have went off on him. That's dumb.
Mm-hmm.
We
Mm-hmm.
haven't talked for half a minute. I
Right.
just, hey, you know what?
Your
This isn't
boundaries
it.
are different now.
That's the important thing. And a lot of
Mm-hmm.
us don't have good boundaries. I had none. I had
Mm-hmm.
none. Right?
Mm-hmm.
And now I do. And so what that did was that just kind of, that ended stuff very quickly. So I was good. That way I'm not entertaining what's not for me. It's not about them. It's
Mm-hmm.
never about them. It's about this is not for me. And
Mm-hmm.
that's the approach that I have taken. I'm polyamorous, y'all.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
That's
Mm-hmm.
the approach that I take in my connections. It's not about this dude doesn't know where all these men are. Some woman out there likes that.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just not the one that does.
Mm-hmm.
That's it.
So in that aspect of dating now, I always like because in this work for many of us that are the healers that deal with the sexual energy,
Mhm.
what do you feel is most important as a sexual healer or a healer of sexual energy? What is important as a healer that is either channeling this energy or helping to unblock it in the interactions? What are your words of the healer that is doing this work?
Stop trying to save little boys.
Mm,
Stop trying to save little boys in grown men's bodies. And the same for the men. Stop trying to save little girls. Stop trying to be the Captain Save a hose. As
mm-hmm,
healers, we want that, right? Because we have a desire to help. We want to see people living their best life, and we just know if they just do this, or if they could just see this, like we see their God self. We see their potential, and we want to be involved in the upliftment of that. We got to let that shit go.
mm-hmm,
Some people are going to drown on their own saliva,
mm,
and we have to let them because that's their journey. And that was my biggest lesson. I am not here to save people. I am
mm-hmm,
here to receive what is meant for me. I'm here to uplift those who show, and that's where the boundaries come in, who show that they have a desire to be uplifted, but I'm not here to save anyone. And I think a lot of us, men and women in the healing space, people keep saying empaths attract narcissists, and I'm like, okay, stop.
mm-hmm.
People who are healers attract people who need to be healed.
Yes,
And because we
yes.
have no boundaries, because we think it's wrong to have a boundary because we think a boundary is telling someone that we're not available to help them. And if we're not
Mm,
available to help them, then we're being selfish, bad people. Now we put ourselves in a situation to deal with someone who doesn't respect what the gifts that we have to offer. Because how could they?
mm-hmm.
Right? So no, stop trying to heal broken birds. Stop trying to be triage.
Or
Cut them
even
down.
knowing that you may have a gift as a sexual, or feeling that is a way to control or to heal them, because sometimes the
Right.
sex can be used to manipulate as
Oh,
well. So
absolutely.
also, some men women like, I know I got this, my stuff is the bomb, and the intentions in going into it is to manipulate
Yeah.
using that energy.
Yeah, now that'll bite you in the ass every time. I tell women all the time, and I used to be one of those. Oh, I could snatch souls.
Right.
Yeah, with my skills, and it's true. But as I learned and I grew in the energy, I'm like, why would I want to snatch a man's soul?
Mm-hmm.
Like, am I
Mm-hmm.
collecting
Got to
them?
be careful what you
No.
ask for.
Right. Do I want that energy with me like that? And it's like,
Mm-hmm.
nah. So we're not snatching souls anymore with our skill set. Men, we don't need to, make women see the other ethers and all that and be like, yeah, I did that. No, no, no.
Mm-hmm.
Let's bring it back and see how we can provide healing for each other in a way that is grounded and not ego based. Ego's gonna be involved. We're human. We're
Mm-hmm.
not. I'm not here to kill
Mm-hmm.
my ego. I like my ego. I want it.
Mm-hmm.
So, but
Mm-hmm.
we don't need to let the ego be the driver of our gifts either.
Mm-hmm. Definitely finding that balance of the
Yes.
two of the two. So, in general, as we sum things up, or let someone have any questions on here, tell us a little bit about what you do have going on. What are your teachings, in case someone want to dwell more on some of the work, some of the things that you spoke on. What is it that you're doing now and helping us with
Yeah.
this magic of sex?
Yeah. Well, first, I am here in the group, and it's a
Right.
topic for tonight. I
Yeah.
am a member, so y'all can reach out to me. I do have my community, Black Lotus Tantra, and that is focused on tantra, sex magic, slash sex magic, sacred sexuality for Black women, where there are is a library of classes, over 75 classes in there, including vaginal mapping, how to enjoy sex as you age, because I mean we're getting there, right? So I have
Mhm.
classes in there, and I teach in there biweekly, and special events for free, so forth and so on. In September, and I just finished putting the landing page together, just finished putting the link in my link in bio. And
Mhm.
September 13th at 1 p.m., I'm doing a free masterclass experience, Black Woman as God. I did it last August. I'm doing it
Mhm.
this September. And it's going to be all about the history of sex magic and the history of the worship of
Ooh,
Black women,
yes.
and why we were seen as God, and why religion, culture, and society does not want us to be seen as God. So that'll be free, and
Yeah.
that'll be September 13th. It's a Saturday at 1 p.m., a 2 hour event. So people can start registering for that as well if
Oh,
they like.
that's going to be wonderful. Oh, I want to hear about that. Oh, that's good.
Yeah.
That's good.
Listen, ego based. I watched the class that I did last year, and I was kind of like, damn, how am I going to top that this year? Because that was,
Right.
I was
I'm
like,
pretty sure it's more. Look, as
that
the
was kind of
downloads
good.
will
So yes,
come.
yes, I gotta put
Right.
more into it.
Right. So, if there was any last words to give to those who don't know what sex magic is, or whether they came in at the last minute to see what we're talking about, just in general, what are some words of magic advice that you give in this area of reclaiming our sexuality, reclaiming our divinity, and understanding that sex is sacred? So, what is it that you have to say as the lasting words of this?
Mhm. And understanding this is the Shakti temple, and knowing
Mm-hmm.
that the teachings center around Isis. It's really understanding that we are walking divinity,
Mm-hmm.
and part of being walking divinity means that we have the ability to procreate with that which has created everything. That is our birthright. That is who we are. We do not need permission for that. We do not need a book for that. We do not need a bridge or an intermediary for that. We were created in that image and bestowed with those gifts in order to do that. Sex is one of the most powerful ways to create.
Mm-hmm.
We make whole human beings through that act that are now
Mm-hmm.
watching this came through that act. And
Mm-hmm.
so understand the power that exists where you can create a whole new life in a body through this act. What else can you possibly create in your life?
Exactly. Exactly. Unlimited possibilities.
Unlimited.
Through that 30 second of pleasure in that moment. So at the end of the day is you got to build that fire to get it at the full potential if that's
That's
what you
right.
want to bring forth. So you can
That's right.
half-ass do it and be laying as Tahia has taught me so many terms. You can lay there and be vanilla if you want to. And ain't nothing wrong with vanilla ice cream if you like it plain. But at some point in time, you might want to put some sprinkles and a little syrup and a little chocolate on it and add
Do
some power
something.
to it.
Listen,
Right?
I'll say it like this. Imagine you're in a dark room, and in order to have what you desire, you need to turn the wattage up to 100, but you're sitting there with it on 8,
Mm-hmm.
right? And
Mm-hmm.
so the room is dim, you can barely see, and somebody's like, just turn it up to 100, and you're
Mm-hmm.
like, nah, I'm gonna stay at 8.
Right. Like
Right, you're gonna
why?
be like, what? Why would you want to stay dim? Like, turn that shit up to 100 and see
Mm-hmm.
the entire landscape. That's who
Yes.
we are, and that's what we can do. So everybody, turn it up to 100
Yes. Yes. Walk in
before you
your
slide out of this meat
Yeah,
suit.
that's it. Walk in your sovereignty of it and enjoy it with no regrets. And
Right.
that's how we have to live life, be free in all aspects. So I thank you for being on here tonight and activating us and giving folks more information because these are the topics that are not normally talked about. So that's why I said, even with this group, I said, folks ask, then I'm going to put it in here and whoever want to know, then you'll join in. And so my thing is connecting you to the resources. Like I said, I don't know everything, but I know some people.
Yeah.
So this is
By
where
the
the
way, I
learning.
love that book. By the way, that book also shifted my life.
Mhm. Mhm.
And so I will take two other books to read. Um, One is When God Was a Woman,
Okay.
by the last name of the author is Stone, Merlin Stone, I think, When God Was a
Mhm.
Woman. And then a black man, Robert Gibson, was like, hold on, you left something out. So he wrote When God Was a Black Woman and Why She Isn't
Ah.
Now. And those two books combined with that Mary Magdalene Revealed book and a
Mhm.
few other things, I was like,
Mhm.
oh, they've been keeping secrets from us since the beginning. That
Mm.
we are the secret. How about
Gotcha.
that?
Gotcha. Ashe, ashe, ashe. All righty. Well, I thank you for sharing this time with us and those who were watching. So I hope everybody leave this group feeling empowered and juicy and activated and all of that. People always say, Asha, you always do it and leave us hanging. The whole point is not to leave you hanging. Go pleasure yourself. Don't blame it on me. Blame it on yourself. So I thank you, love. I appreciate
Thank
you.
you. Of course.
All right. Have a good evening. Thank
Bye.
y'all for logging in. Bye bye.